So hello everyone, welcome to the second session of the Go Live web series, and thank you to joining us. Yes, this is the second of a series of 5. We will discuss about AI in the context of business stakes and strategy today. The next one will be about AI in the supply chain with our partner SAS, and then we will discuss about sustainability around AI. To finish, for the last webinar, we will discuss about something more IT-oriented around machine learning MLOps with a very similar approach to DevOps, but in the machine learning context. So don't hesitate to ask questions on the Q&A part of this WebEx. If you have some trouble to ask question on the Q&A, don't hesitate to put your question on the chat side of the WebEx. Without further ado, I will leave the floor to Marie-Caroline and Moez to present themselves. So Marie-Caroline, Moez, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Nicolas. Hello, everyone. My name is Marie-Caroline Baer. I'm a VP at Capgemini Invent, which is the consulting subsidiary of Capgemini Group, and I'm in charge of our artificial intelligence offering.
And I'm Moez Drayev. I'm a chief scientist with a global role and supporting our data science and data engineering teams delivering data transformations.
Thank you. So if we go on next page, yes, thank you. So today we are going to talk about the way that you activate actually data and AI to support the business strategy, meaning that we are not going to discuss individual use cases of AI, but rather how to really embrace a full end-to-end transformation to make sure that you achieve the right results with a decent time to market and a strong return on investment. On the next page, that's just a reminder, because all of us have different interpretation of what is AI. So this is a list of, let's say, technologies or tools or enablers that we see in the space of AI. What is sure is that you can't nowadays think that you're not going to implement AI. Everyone is going to do that. If you are not, your competitors will do. And all the experts, the Gartners, etc., see a wonderful increase in the number of projects for this year and also for the next decade. They see a major increase both in the business value and also in the efficiency gains that can be provided by artificial intelligence. Just to give you an idea, we do a global assessment, a global survey on AI at scale at more than 1,000 enterprises. And if we look back 2 years ago, it was more 20-30% interviewees we were claiming AI at scale. We are going to publish our new study in June. Hopefully we will have increased, but maybe because we see at many of our clients, we still see some experimentation, some MVPs, and really, and some of them are really facing issues to scale. So this is still going to be an issue in the coming months and years. Another trend is that more AI will be based on the cloud. We anticipate a major increase in that. And another driver, I would say, is that IoT is going also to be deployed much more broadly. And IoT basically will bring many data, which in return can be used by AI. If we go on the next page, if we talk about supporting the business, I would say that data and AI basically can do anything for you. They can support all the customer engagement domain in the company, whether the marketing, distribution, product management. They can support, of course, risk and fraud, and there has been many initiatives on the fraud domain. They support operations and performance, more broadly speaking, especially with process efficiency, but also with predictive maintenance in the industry, manufacturing, and also some prediction and assistance to all the corporate functions like HR, IT, finance, of course, etc. What we also see is the square at the bottom left, which is a new business model. We see more and more of our clients raising questions or looking for opportunities to use their data to bring new value. What we have in this category is basically the product and services that you can bring to your customers with using the data, which is a key asset. And also you can look for specific partnerships. What I mean by specific partnerships is for a company to share its data with another company, not being a competitor, but moving, let's say, in a similar space. For instance, you can think of hotels and travel and airspace. You can think of television and mobile phones. So this idea is really to bring new solutions, new value added to the client, and we believe it's going to be also a big driver in the coming months and years, and we already have clients where we work on this type of topic. What we see that it's operations and performance, which has been really worked by our client, and also risk and fraud, but we see a major increase in the ones on the left. On the next page, so I was talking that the issue is not finding use cases. Any company can find use cases, hundreds of use cases. This is not really the point. At the same time, we know that most of the technologies are mature. So the question of how can AI support the business is really to build an AI strategy. And this AI strategy is really setting up an overall ambition, meaning what are the strategic priorities that I want to address with data, with AI. So of course you have some use cases that you are going to scope, to identify, but you need also to make sure that all the data that you have, of course, a governance for data, and also that you have some processes in place to make sure the data will enable meeting the ambition. There is a question of architecture. You can have 10 MVPs on 10 different tools. In the end, everything is going to cost too much, so you have to define an IT strategy also to support AI and data. You have to define an operating model, meaning who is going to steer all these initiatives. We believe strongly, that we need to build some governance with a budget, some reviews. You have to be able to drop also some initiatives if they don't pay off soon enough. So really an operating model with the governance embedded. And then you have the change management. So change management, it's not only training people when you put in place a robot. In the end, when you put together all these technologies, it's going to impact broadly the organization, the people, the job skills that you are going to look after. And there is, if you look at it again at a program level, big changes to anticipate, to make sure in the end everything is going to work. You can think, for instance, of outsourcing some activities like training, machine learning, or such things. So there are actually many topics in the change management, and it's key to succeed. In the end, you should define a clear roadmap and budget, meaning where you are going to start and what value you are going to bring for what budget. Budget meaning IT and people, basically. On the next page, I'm just conscious of time. So very briefly, this is how we recommend to conduct AI and data strategy. We have here five streams which are really in line with the topics that I presented before. So it's really aligning on the priorities, evaluating the assets and defining how you're going to do that with the architecture, the operating model, etc., and consolidate with a budget and roadmap. Usually we identify one or two pilots that can be delivered right away after the AI strategy roadmap. How long does it take? Usually it's between 3 and 4 months, depending if you are already mature or not on AI. At some clients, it takes 2 months. They call us because they have too many initiatives here and there, and they want to build a program. We can also accelerate with our AI university program, or we can make some awareness session to accelerate, but it's not a big deal. And there we are really talking about building the future of our AI is going to support the business. Next page, Moez, please. Yes, and just wanted to have a quick look at the various operational models that we see currently for data and AI. You've got here 4 models, depending on the centralization or not, and if it's just autonomy in the business units or if there is a central coordination. So these 4 models, actually, not one is better than the other. Usually, it starts all in the silo light blue format with every business unit running some AI center of excellence or building some AI enablers or accelerators. And in the end, we see many coordination centers which can have more or less, let's say, power on the decision. So they can either just be coordinating, facilitating, making sure everything is shared, or they can really have the budget, steer the overall program, and support all the decisions. Sometimes there is a business line with a very strong hub who also shares that as a service for other business units. I think that was it for me. We see how it happens.
So my colleague explained to you how sort of the data is now pervasive and how companies have to adapt their data transformation to their culture and their organization. And then this dictates the operating model at the top level. Once you have the sponsorship that comes from at the CXO level in the company, then you have to make this actually work. And this is something that depends on rituals and setting up the right rituals to have a life cycle for the definition of products. And this is going through kind of a number of logical phases. One is ideation, which is kind of coming up with the use cases. This is often like your employees have tons of these use cases in mind, and you can create the tooling that enable them to contribute to the backlog of use cases in terms of what would make their life better and improve the way they deliver the services to their customer. And this is then followed by kind of making this use cases concrete, figuring out what value does it bring, how many people it will impact, how much it's going to transform the business, and how to implement it in a way that it's scalable, both from a technological perspective, but also from a human perspective. And this goes through a phase of qualification in POC. At the end of this, the use cases that make it through this POC evaluation and that kind of show that they have value and potential within the company, then really you have to define how it's going to look like, how the user stories are going to unfold, and how this is going to be perceived by your kind of employees who are going to use this, and how this is going to be integrated to your IT system in terms of the architecture, the data pipelines, etc. once you're there, you're really kind of somehow halfway in the journey, and then you're ready to be able to deliver these use cases in an agile, iterative mode that has benefit at its heart, whereby we really track whatever KPIs and metrics we have defined in the earlier phases to be able to ensure that what we're delivering is really going to have an impact. Once the different features of the product are being built, and then has to be then connected to the actual environments and be tested in a gradual way to further and further parts of your business, and then move to run, whereby now the product itself is operational, is being used, and then you've put in place all the triggers that will ensure that this product is adapted as you go. And these rituals are not linear. We don't do ideation and then we run products, we stop. This is iterative, and things could start at any of those, be it to update an existing product, add new features, increase its scope. And this is how kind of you ensure that what you're delivering somehow lives and provides what's expected from it. To be able to deliver these kind of products through the life cycle, we have to adjust the team that goes with it. So there's always a need for someone who understands data pipelines, and who understands the architecture. And this is people at the bottom who really ensure consistency throughout all the use cases that are being developed and the products that come out of them. And then within the life cycle of a product, you will go from teams that will focus on the definition of product and the qualification phases to teams that differ in sizes depending on whether you build your own algorithmic solution with larger teams that you will build internally, or where you buy these strategies and you are supporting the product that's coming from the outside and specialize in area that will have to be tailored to your needs. And once we are out of these delivery phases and we move to run, then you have to have people who understand the related to these products, and then will improve them. And then you might have to go again through these phases, as I said, and have to kind of enrich the product through data science and algorithmic aspects to it. And again, this is not a linear process. This is a cyclical process that you have to define as you progress and as you see the impact of your products on your bottom line and on your customers. So another very, very important topic when you are working on the artificial intelligence transformation and you're building use cases is to ensure that what you're delivering respects the mission you have, and also the guidelines to ensure that what you're delivering is trusted by your employees, trusted by your clients, and respects kind of regulator within your business. And this is not an afterthought that one comes up with once the product is out there. This is really something that one has to think about from the early stages. What data do I need? Is there a risk of data leaks? Am I respecting the privacy of my clients when using their data? Are the algorithms that I'm building transparent to my employees, and that they can use them and trust them throughout the process? And can they interact with them in a reliable way and improve them? And how much my employees are at the center of all these products, both in thinking about them, but also in using them, and they feel empowered through them rather than being replaced by them. And this is kind of really very important throughout the cycles that we defined earlier. And we're not going to go through the details here, but we have like a parallel cycles that one can add to the standard rituals of building AI projects when you kind of include the ethical component or through the different phases of this. So what does this mean concretely? I'm just going to conclude with two examples. One is in the kind of customer experience space and one in the operations space. So this first example is we worked for a number of years with a major consumer goods clients who actually decided that they want to listen very carefully to their customers' needs and to tailor the products that they are providing on the market to these needs and these voices of the customers. And to do so, they decided on a data acquisition strategy, both internal and external data, and then build a state-of-the-art consumer insight and engagement capability that they call their people data center. This is really kind of the idea is that on a regular basis to review their set of products and see whether those products are adapted to the final customers. And this has kind of touched most of their products and enabled them to save a lot of money on products that were at the end of their life cycles, but also come up with rather original and interesting products and enable the people who design their products to be always at the edge of customer experience and customer engagement. And so, and this is now not only a capability internally, but this is the capability that this customer provides to the markets as a service. The second example I wanted to share with you is an example of a mining client. It's a company that we've been working with for more than a year, initially by setting up their data strategy, from the operating model to the use cases to the sort of the perimeter of the applications that have to be taken into account. And then we delivered a number of projects on many sites, and these projects have impacted both their mining operations, their alloy delivery operations, their human resources, and incorporated a new operating model, new deliveries, and a very short time to market for many of these products. And there are, on top of the existing projects that cover many of their business lines, there are a number of use cases, 50 plus, that have a huge potential for saving and operations improvement that are being scoped and looked into to improve the business and enable this company to streamline its operations, reduce its risk, and improve the quality of its products. And so these are kind of two sort of companies that invested heavily in their data transformation, put the right rituals in place, and track the impact of this transformation by enabling its employees to make the most of these kind of algorithmic opportunities and these data opportunities. So I'll stop here, and more than happy to take any questions on what we discussed with Mike Almeida.
Okay, thank you. If you have any question, don't hesitate to ask your question in the chat or in the Q&A. I just received a question in my own chat. Do you think that COVID crisis will have an impact on the strategy or on the organization around AI, and how we have to be organized to handle the topic of the crisis and the new way of organization in their enterprise?
Go ahead, Mike.
Yes. Yes, in the short term, the type of discussions we have are around two topics: managing the crisis with many engagement and discussion with the health and hospitals. Moise can talk about that, and about the rebounds, and especially supply chain, how to have the customers come back to the shops again, or are they going to keep and buy online? These kind of topics are really hot for the time being at our client.
Clearly, I think we all seen in the press how much data is informing public decisions, be it in terms of the public policies that are in place, but also the capacities that we have to face this crisis. But we've also seen a lot of our customers deciding that going out of this crisis, they have to have some understanding of the world that they'll be facing. And there is no other way than to look at the data that's coming from their businesses, from their industries, and adjust their operations to that. I feel like this is actually, it's almost a huge opportunity for accelerating some projects that actually maybe were not in the priority for many of our clients, and that now becoming really at the top of their priorities.
Any other questions? Looks great. Okay.
I see a question that says, what are the main differences between companies who are succeeding in implementing and scaling AI and the ones who are failing or far from the success? Maybe I can answer one.
Yeah, thank you for this question, because it's really the difference between delivering AI from one MVP to another and building a strategy and making the choices that do make the difference, like the choice of AI platform. Do you go for make or buy? Do you work with your own data scientists, or do you work with some external data scientists? Do you want a strategy based on cloud solutions or on best of breed solution that you find on the market, etc.? So it's really thinking of this upfront is going to bring more value and more quickly. That's our conviction.
And add maybe to what Marc-Henri was saying is that a lot of companies think that they have a use case that's gonna transform the business, and they're gonna focus all their energy on like a sector use case. And I don't think data is meant to solve one problem, because it's very difficult to anticipate how much potential there is. And it's really something that has to be infused within the business rather than targeted to like one specific pain in the business, that one thinks that by solving that, it's going to transform the business. And I feel like a lot of companies are failing because they're just being too narrow-minded in their application of kind of the data and AI potential within their businesses.
Yeah, another question, I think. Concerning big groups, do you believe more in the federalized organization rather than the local one, or both are useful?
Maurice, do you have a view? Because I see both models, actually.
I think both work, but I think it's important to have some legitimate person at the center of the business that coordinates this. I feel like if it's only distributed, then at the end, you're just going to make local solutions that don't necessarily take into account the diversity of the problems that, a space. But I agree with Mike. In both work, we have clients who are sort of very decentralized and works very well, very centralized works well. But I think you need to have someone that incarnates at the top level of the company this ambition and this understanding, and to be able to defend it at the very top of the company.
Okay, I think it's good in terms of questions. So thank you so much, Marie-Caroline and Moez, about for this session. I just want to remember the calendar for the next session, the 19th of May, AI in supply chain, 26th of May, sustainability of AI, and the 2nd of June, it will be the MLOps. So thank you again. Wish you a very good afternoon. See you on next Tuesday for another episode of the web series. Enjoy your afternoon and see you next time.
Thank you. Bye bye, everyone.